Hi, welcome back to CS 170. I'm going to get on to the crowdfunding part of the lecture, but really quickly. Surprisingly, someone watched this video fairly quickly and just asked a quick question here, so I'm just going to respond pretty quickly here on this. So when I was talking about the lookup or the entries here for the sum if, um, basically, what are the things that drive the parameters to look up onto the entries? It's really this, right? So you can see the reference here to the A column. You can see A8, which is kind of arbitrary. It could have been any one of these, right? But so it's A8 here. So this is the name of the sheet here. And then this is the cell, A8, okay? And it's going to look at the entries here. And it's going to look here to see that, okay? And likewise, what you see here is the interest. This is B8. So you can see the name of the sheet, and then you can see B8, okay? And then up here, this is BK2, right? So essentially what you're saying is, like, what are the things I'm using to filter or isolate the records within entries? It's going to be this cell, and this cell, right? So between those three things, right, the property, the taxes, and the date, then you come over to here and you can find the property, in this case, the interest, right, and then the date over here, okay? And then that's how you triangulate or figure out like which of these records you want to take a sum on, which is column L, okay? So hopefully that clears things up for you, like that, okay? So you should be able to pull that together using the sum if s, right, which is basically allowing you to put multiple records under entries that fulfill these criteria and then just sum them together. Okay, cool. All right. Anyway, let's come back here to crowdfunding. So you remember last time we were doing crowdsourcing, which is basically pulling people together to solve a problem. And crowdfunding is also similar type of thing. It goes out there and you're trying to get a whole bunch of people to donate money, in this case crowdfunding, to whatever situation, right? It could be to donate to a charity, it could be to do microfinancing, stuff like that. So something like Kiva here, right? So these are like small loans to individual people or groups, and you can basically lend money to them, you as an individual, okay? And I'm sure a lot of you probably heard Kickstarter, okay? So a lot of people put stuff out there, right? It could be a project, right, or a product that they're trying to sell, right? They're in development of a product, maybe it's a beta product or whatever, right? They're trying to, get some money so that they can continue to fund their work to get that product out to market, okay? So people will help them by giving them money if they think it's like a cool product or whatever, okay? And so, there's basically all kinds of donors can see this, right? It's on the internet, and then you can go in there and just put money in there, okay? And if they don't get the money, then the donors can get their money back, okay? So microfinance, like I was saying earlier, it's basically lending money, okay? And in similar ways, if you look at some other things like eBay or whatnot, there's a certain element of you trying to, let's say, build up your reputation, right? So there'll be people here, if you look into the details, right? This is just like a summary here, but you might look into the individual person, you know, to get some sort of comfort level that you're going to get your money back, right? And there'll be different things here, like talking about the loan repayment rate, things like that. You can probably, well, you can just go into Kiva yourself and kind of look, and you'll just see all kinds of profiles of different people that you can lend money to, where they'll give you different aspects or attributes to make you feel comfortable that they're going to pay you back your money over a period of time. Okay. So, so those are the concepts, right? So crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, and they're really enabled through things like the internet, things like certain maturation of our technology to enable large groups of people to be able to contribute into solving problem or providing financing on something. Okay. I just took some different clips of different articles. I'm sure if you just go out and do a search, you'll see different, I would say, called challenges or different potential issues, right? So you have this new types of opportunities, and it could do a lot of good, right? There's a lot of people that have not been able to get financing, or they have very expensive financing, or you have very big problems that you haven't been able to solve, and through technology you're able to potentially address these issues, right? But at the same time, there are some potential issues with these things, which probably the processes uh, to safeguard individuals who think they're trying to help other people, um, you know, understand that there's some challenges here, right? So you might have certain things where uh, maybe you're raising money and whatever you're raising money for is not legit, right? Maybe someone made up a story about like a charity, so it's not fully vetted, and a whole bunch of people there hear a good story and they think they're putting money towards a good cause. Um, maybe there's different things going on where the person who's supposed to receive the money never receives the money, right? Maybe there's certain things where it could be almost like a Ponzi scheme where people are contributing money. They don't know how much money is going to the end result, to whoever is asking for the money, how much is being held by the person who's raising the money. Um, the microfinance, is the person really paying you back? Maybe not. Maybe the people that are running it are using funds from other places to pay you back so that the loan repayment looks like a very high number, so to encourage more people to be able to lend money. Um, so there's all kinds of these type of things that potentially are issues. And I'm not trying to say that all these things are scams or anything like that, but these are potential things that have happened and things to watch out for. And the the structures or the processes to manage these things are still evolving, right? These things are fairly new, and the safeguards that other things might have are just not in place yet, right? Or they're a work in progress. And I think the other big challenge here is that because the internet allows certain things to happen much faster than in the past, that just creates a problem that hasn't been seen before, right? So in the old days, maybe it takes longer to do a lot of these things, whether it's to raise money for a charity or to raise money for a particular cause or whatever, and that slowness in doing things allows people to catch up and say, hey, this is not really a legit thing, or whatever. There's something fishy going on. But here, because things work so fast, by the time you figure out that there might be something wrong, the money's already out the door. So definitely speed is both a benefit and a challenge in these type of situations. And so all of the controls that you need to stay on top of these things and make sure that we protect the people who think that they're donating to something is, make sure that they're contributing to what they think they're contributing to. Now, the other challenge that comes up with the idea of crowdsourcing, and you can see many articles on this, and there's some challenges where people are trying to address this, is in terms of like bias, right? Um, so there may be a certain population of people who are more inclined to contribute information into things like Wikipedia, right? It could be any number of things, right? Um, and those people might be, uh, have a certain background, maybe there's a certain geographical situation, maybe they tend to be maybe English speaking people, whatever it is, it doesn't really bring forth like the full set of diversity that you're hoping for when you're looking at a global community that's trying to contribute into something, let's say Wikipedia. Okay, and so you'll see articles like this that kind of talk about those type of challenges, right? And it's still an ongoing thing that people are trying to work out. Okay, I think for this lecture I have time to pick up electronic payments, and then we'll cut it there. Okay, so electronic payments, I'm sure you've seen all of these things, right? Digital currency is kind of a hot topic these days. You've probably seen Bitcoin going crazy, going up and going down. It's like a roller coaster ride. But you see all these other players here all trying to do something in terms of electronic payments. Some of them have come and gone and whatnot, and there's going to be more people that will come and go in this space to try to see if they can make a go at it. Okay, and so these are the different things that you see when it comes to talking about the benefits or challenges from electronic currency. Um, so uh, you have these type of things here. Actually in this day and age, I guess because of COVID, you probably also don't have to touch paper currency either, right? So that's another benefit here too, right? And there's other countries outside the U.S., for example, China, which you know has probably much bigger adoption of electronic payments than the rest of the world. But it definitely is a very big continuing trend. And then you throw stuff like Bitcoin or other electronic currencies into the mix. It only drives that a little bit further. Okay, um, so uh, the money laundering aspect, I'm not really sure. Like you would say there's really less money laundering. I guess it depends on which currency or which electronic payment you're talking about. Um, obviously there are some types of currency that pretty much exist solely to keep your activities confidential, right? So money laundering actually is a big problem in some cases, depending on what type of currency you're using. Um, so all this other stuff, yeah, that's fine. Uh, Easier currency exchange while traveling internationally. Yeah, I think that's fairly true. Again, it might depend on the case. So the other things in terms of like hackers, um, draining your bank account. Yeah, uh, but it's just a different angle now, right? So if you have certain situations where who, let's say if you have Bitcoin, uh, you know, well, if you happen to lose the custody for your key for whatever reason, you just lost all that money, right? At the same time, if you try to put it with some custodial services, if those people run off with your key, then you're in trouble too. They just took all your money. Um, so, yeah, so I think there's some problems there. Um, people can quickly take away all your money, right? Hacking it, stealing your key or whatever, you're in big trouble. Uh, it's not tangible, right? It's all digital. It's all out there in the ether, and someone kind of goes in there and resets those zeros and ones, you could end up with nothing, right? Or in the case of Bitcoin, steals the key, right? So, so I think there are some challenges here that will have to be worked through in terms of electronic payments and electronic currency. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, here's a little article snippet talking about the coronavirus and the cashless society. And again, there's different things in terms of like how quickly money can move once you're going with any of the different things that we're talking about from a digital currency standpoint. Although I would say probably cashing out of electronic currency could be slow depending on which one you're talking about. But in general, they move pretty quickly, right? So again, from a scam standpoint, people can potentially get your money and disappear before you figured out that there's something wrong, right? So that's one of the drawbacks of being very fast. And you can do these things remotely, right? Could be some person all the way on the other side of the world. You have no way of sorting that out. Okay, let me pause this before we get into the next section of this. Okay, thank you.